going live any moment. It says I'm live, but it's not showing here. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. We have back on the channel one of your favorite astrologers, Trifon Nikolov, who uses Sidereal, Babylonian, Vedic astrology to look at the stars. Hello, Trifon. Long time no see.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be here again. Yes, this was, like, as you all know, too interesting time in the last few months. As there is this, if you remember, this old Chinese curse: "Let you live in interesting times."
May you live in interesting times. Chinese curse.
It is thought that a Buddhist monk, witnessing the destruction of his monastery by the Mongol invaders, because he's sincere in nature, he was not able to say anything bad. So he thought what to say to them, and he said this.
May you live in times. I think we've all been cursed right now. So,
The entire humanity.
what's happening sidereally in the past now? Events that you missed on commenting on us, and the current ones in October 2021.
So if you remember, the last video that we made was about the weakness of Mars in the end of July, beginning of the end of June, beginning of July. And I think already everyone knows what the weakness of Mars meant, actually, because soon after that, the weakness of some great army became evident due to political reasons. And also in the end of June, there was this, I can say, like, evidence of why the place where I am now, Florida, is ruled by Scorpio. This is my own fault that Florida is Scorpio. But at the time when Mars became very weak, buildings started to crumble in Florida, which was, if you remember, this case when a building crashed.
Yeah.
So later
Why is Florida Scorpio? Is it because everyone has big booties?
So for many reasons, if you know, in the 80s, South Florida was a very criminal place, for instance.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
mostly I realized that when for the first time I was flying over Miami, landing soon, and I just saw this all this water that was not moving.
Oh,
The marshes.
marshes.
Yeah. Yes, and I know astrologically that this is ruled by Scorpio, the water that is not moving. The Scorpio is the water sign that is fixed. So looking from high, Florida looked like a Scorpio place. This was the first thought. And later I just found many other reasons why. Including the, the entire nature here. But also the people. And what is going on in the state. So, however, so this was because Mars became very weak as a ruler of Scorpio. Buildings were destroyed here. But on more mundane level, the weakness of Mars represented a difficult time for the military. If you remember, when we were talking in the beginning of the year about what the chart of the presidency of Joe Biden is showing, and I made a prediction that this in his presidency there will be very difficult times for the army of USA. which came to be true very soon, as you already know. However, there is actually something else that they found. An ancient omen coming from Mesopotamia is translated by some scientists, and I maybe accidentally, maybe not, because I was searching for such type of information. I saw the omen and the translation, and I related it to the times. I was just reading a lot of such information, and I just realized that there is such omen that is for the present times. This was, in the beginning of September when I saw it. So, and the omen, let's find it, just a moment. Okay, so the omen says, if there is an eclipse in Sivan, so this is a clay tablet from Mesopotamia, thousands of years old. Right? Astrological prediction. So if there is an eclipse in Sivan, so Sivan is the third month in the Babylonian calendar. If you know, the Babylonian calendar begins with the 1st of Nisan, which is the first month, which is very close to the spring equinox time. This is usually the first new moon that is the closest to the spring equinox. So it can be sometimes in March, it can be sometimes in April. So in this case, Sivan is happening in some parts of May and June. Second half of May, 1st of June, roughly. And so what it says, if there is an eclipse in Sivan from the 1st to the 30th day, so the entire month it can happen. Eclipse,
yeah, of course.
So it says eclipse of the king of Akkad. Okay, Akkad is, we can accept this is part of Iraq and Iran today. However, there will be a big flood. There will be a big flood, it says. You remember what happened in Germany and in Turkey and in other places? There was extremely disastrous floods.
Floods, yeah.
Yes. And Adat will devastate the harvest of the land. So Adat is the god of thunder. And the prediction is that the harvest will be destroyed. So this happened here and there. However, this is not the main message here. See the next sentence. A great army will fall.
Oh. Sorry.
So, and the great army really fought, because of the decisions of the politicians. But the letter of the prediction happened. The letter of the ancient astrological prediction on this clay tablet actually really happened. The great army fought.
But
in Afghanistan.
But the new army was built back better. The Taliban is built back better.
So what I'm trying to say to everybody, and especially for the people of USA, is that this was foretold. This was celestial law. What happened? This was a time a great army to fall, and now the greatest army is accepted to be mostly U.S. Army. We can only speak of two others, like China and Russia. And so one of the greatest armies fought. This time was U.S. Army. Okay. So because everybody may think why this happened and so on, this is also because of the times. Like that. Explanation from the ancient astrological priests. Prediction for the fall of the great army. And for the and for the fruits also that happened. So these were the main events, right?
Mhm.
These calamities, floods and everything, difficulties for agriculture, harvest, and mainly also this stress, this catastrophe that happened in Afghanistan.
Oh, well, can I ask you then, have you thought what the supply chains are going crazy now? In Western astrology, we know Saturn square Uranus is supply chains problems that's happening. How do you see it with ancient astrology? Shops are empty around the world. Some big shops are closing. They can't, in UK in particular, uh, empty with
You know that a lunar eclipse in Taurus is coming, right? We will talk about it in the beginning of the next month video.
So it
And
will
we
get
will definitely discuss more about the financial things because starting with the end of this month, the coming eclipse in Taurus will start to be felt. So this is a sign that there can be some financial disturbances, definitely. Taurus is a sign of resources. The moon will be with this star Algol, which among its many meanings also is considered to be a star of finances. And the star of finances to be eclipsed. All right, definitely it's not meaning that wealth of the world is becoming more, but it's the opposite.
Is it the same electricity, gas and electricity prices in UK? They become 400% higher, for example, the gas I heard. And in Bulgaria, 100%, 100% not for commercial use, and all over the world.
Yes,
Gas
yes.
and
I read even an article today that the supply chains in Florida are expected to become really difficult. So the same processes in USA, obviously. So it's everywhere. It's everywhere, and the coming eclipse of the moon with a star of finances definitely shows there will be financial distress next month, November, on mundane level, right? So how strong this will be, we'll have to measure with a little bit more research, and we'll talk more about it in the next video. In this, however, in this celestial omina on this clay tablet, the record of it, there is also additional information, and one of the sentences there is that there will be decrease of barley, which is interesting. Probably people that are interested in agriculture maybe already know this. I think it's happening. So barley was common culture in the ancient times, and it still now is. So if you want to become like more wealthy, buy barley and sell it right now. I know a story that American billionaire. So American became a billionaire following information of such tablets.
Oh, like
Yes, there is a certain clay tablet that predicts when the prices of such cultures will become low and so on. And he used this information at the time when this was true, buying a lot of ships with grain, and he became really rich. This is what the legend is saying. So this information is actually, as you can see, the tablets, what they're saying actually becomes true. Because this astrological information has solid base of thousands of years of observation by the ancient astrologers. They know what will happen. When eclipse is in the third month of the year, Babylonian third month, then floods, then great army will fall, then there will be no battle, and so on. So this is equal to say that the food becomes scarce, right?
Yeah, the food
because yes, they use it a lot. I think they prefer it at the time.
For them, it was one of the main food resources, let's say. So they said there'll be lack of it. So yeah.
Yeah. However, it's interesting that the same tablet is also saying, if you perform it for the well-being of the king, city, and its people, there will be well-being. So here probably they say that there is certain ritual that can be done, and so on. But all this is probably lost.
Yeah.
This is additional information. Okay, so this was just to explain what happened. Apart from this, there is also additional explanation for all those stressful moments in August, and especially from since the beginning of September. I think all of you must have noticed how much more difficult and stressful everything became. Because Jupiter, in its retrograde movement from the Sidereal Aquarius, in the beginning of September, it moved to backwards to Capricorn, the sign of his debilitation. So he go back in, and several things marked his transition. So first, you know that Jupiter is like famous people, and Capricorn is a sign of Saturn. So in this way, we can relate it also with limitations of time, which means that. And for instance, there is one great soccer player called Gerd Müller. He passed away. And also others. For instance, when Jupiter initially last year entered Capricorn, on the day of its entrance in the Sidereal Capricorn, Maradona died, another great soccer player. So we can see the relation of Jupiter with the great soccer players and what's happening to them in this case. Luckily, Jupiter next year will be in a good place. So, so they will have their time. So also, however, this is very like personal, but mostly this transition from Aquarius to Capricorn is showing how freedoms are being lost and limitations are increasing.
Is it gonna get worse? What's gonna happen?
So this is shown in very like different countries of the world. This is shown, but it's all the same like direction. Jupiter also is fertility, abundance, but when it comes to Capricorn, you now see why the prices are going up. Jupiter is in Capricorn. However, there is one good news. He is in Capricorn till only 29th of November.
Okay, so not a long time.
29th of November, he goes into Aquarius again, and it will be definitely much better then.
Yeah, but then is the eclipse in Taurus for the financial.
It's also in this eclipse is also in November, so we can focus on November mostly for those problems, I think. Yeah. Because afterwards, Jupiter shows improvement. Okay, so let's see what else. Let's stay on the topic of Jupiter. So truth, famous people, freedoms are all in difficult situation now till November, till December actually, till December. And whatever house Jupiter is ruling for every one of us, like looking from the sidereal point of view, right? Then there can be problems. Also people who are born this month or who have their birthdays this month, they will face very interesting moments, especially those that are born around 11th and around 17th. Their years will be much more complex. Yes.
11th and 17th of October, you mean?
Yes, and those that are born around 20th, they will have a very powerful time. I will explain now why. So first, staying on the topic of Jupiter, Jupiter is so problematic because he entered, not only because he entered debilitation sign, but because also he is retrograde at the same time, and because he is in conjunction with Saturn. So these are three levels of weakness as for like Mars in the end of June. So this is very difficult Jupiter now. I don't think there was so difficult Jupiter in the last 60 years. Right. The last time when this happened, such situation was exactly 60 years ago. So difficult it is. However, Jupiter will remove one of the levels of weakness around 18th of October, because this is the time when Jupiter becomes direct. Yeah. So a little better in that time. The other two levels of weakness, namely the debilitation and the conjunction with Saturn, will fall 29th of November. That's why 29th of November is extremely important for everybody. In a very positive way. Yes, very, very positive. Because this means that Jupiter now is retrograde, debilitated, and so on with Saturn. It means literally that good things are not present. Good karma is not showing. There is no benevolence. Truth is hidden. Yeah. Freedom is not there, and so on and so forth.
So many people are losing their jobs. It's crazy. In Italy, from the 15th, people can't work at all, whether they work from home, self-employed, if they don't have the green pass. It's going crazy.
It's crazy, yes, yes. Oppression is there in the name of security, but also for other reasons, right?
So you're saying this will start to reverse from the end of November?
Yes, all those meanings are falling. 29th of November, Jupiter enters the sign of freedom. When Jupiter enters the sign of freedom, there will be motivation. People to be free, and freedom will happen. Freedom will happen, and fall of limitations of many kinds, personally and globally, many levels.
I'll hold you accountable if it doesn't. Personally,
okay.
All your if it doesn't happen.
So I'm the personal representative of Jupiter, you say. Okay. That's a very high. This puts me on the first like the first dignitary on the planet. Something like that.
I think you're the minister of Saturn, not of Jupiter, because you always have bad news for us.
Actually, that's interesting. I have a lot of Saturnian influence in my chart, but one of the books, for instance, that I translated in the past was not about Saturn, but about Jupiter, which shows that I have Jupiterian influence also. Just to say it in defense for myself. So there is also something else. The turning of Jupiter in Capricorn is also described in ancient texts with certain meanings. So around 18th of October, what the ancient texts are saying about the turning of Jupiter to become direct. It says, the ancient text is saying, ill will of the king against the rulers. Ill will of the king against the rulers. So maybe
You will
The
what? You will.
ill will of the king against the rulers. So this means, for instance, like in USA, if you go, that the president will be somehow against the governors. That Vladimir Putin will persecute the oligarchs. That Xi Jinping in China will go after the prominent figures in the Communist Party. Right? This is what it says. So political conflict on highest level.
Internal. Yeah.
We can see it also as if we accept those three rulers, you know, like Biden, Putin, and Jinping, like big kings, like emperors.
Mhm.
They will be going somehow against the others, the smaller rulers of the smaller countries. All right. So we will see then some sort of political crisis.
When it's turning direct, Jupiter.
Yes, around 18th of October.
Yeah.
Before that, it is also said that when he is stationary, which is about to happen too, several days before that, let's say starting with 11th of October, this is tomorrow, the ancient text is saying also, it despoils the king and agitates the mob. So, bad for the big rulers, and there will be obviously some riots maybe, or big unrest among the people, right?
Yeah.
Big unrest among the people. We will see exactly where this will happen the most.
Yeah.
But Jupiter is showing this. However, the main thing is that finally, no matter of these other obstructions, when Jupiter becomes direct, some of the good things that everyone can have are being unlocked, and they will start to develop. In this way, many projects that we want to make or things that we aspire to have, we will see how the process is starting. So there will be hope.
Yeah.
There will be hope. Jupiter soon is turning. The 7 days before his turning, this will start little by little to be felt. So starting tomorrow, maybe even today.
Yeah.
The fact that you are making video maybe showing that this is starting.
The messenger of Jupiter is here, so it's starting.
Okay, so however, this month, this is not it's very important, but not necessarily the most powerful event in the sky. There are two others, namely events related to Saturn and Mercury, which are together with the turning of Jupiter, marking this month to be actually probably the most important month for everybody of the entire year. Because three planets are becoming direct from being retrograde: Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury. So this is to say half of the entire population of the Earth that had some blockages in the last months now will be relieved.
Yay. Awesome.
And will start to have some development.
So many delays. It's been crazy.
Yeah. Now, before we go to the most important thing, let's talk about Saturn.
Yeah.
Saturn also is turning direct, which is happening actually now, today and tomorrow.
Yep. On the 10th, 11th. Yeah.
So Saturn turning direct means that blockages related to business, to work, including for the economic situation, are finally starting to be resolved, which is interesting, right? Everybody who are Saturnian type of people like ruled by Saturn, for instance, their ascendant or maybe their finances, second house, or other important places in the chart, they will feel also this development coming for them. So Saturn will give something for everybody. So, however, if he is ruling bad houses, this can be the bad events, but this is only like 1/4 of the cases. For the rest, is good.
Yeah.
So what I mean is, if it rules your 6th house, your 8th house, or your 12th house, then this is bad event.
This is what?
Shows difficulties and crisis. So this is true for people who have Aquarius ascendant and Pisces ascendant in Sidereal. And also for those who have Capricornian sign in the 6th house, like Capricorn or Aquarius there. And the same in the 8th house. These are Leo ascendant, for instance, Capricorn in the 6th house. And also Virgo ascendant.
Mm-hmm.
However, mostly this is good, because when Saturn becomes strong, it means justice, it means balance, it means everyone gets what he deserves, in a sense. If he was practical, if he was working hard, now this can start to pay off.
Yay.
And the opposite if he was not. So, however, what else? The ancient texts are saying that while Saturn is in Capricorn, now we will touch a little bit the topic of COVID-19. So, if you remember, I found this ancient text that is saying that when Saturn is in Capricorn, it means plagues in many places.
Plagues.
Places.
Plagues in many places.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Saturn is in Capricorn till the end of next year. However, if you remember, Jupiter is showing, according to a research that I made, that there will be big improvement in relation to this situation in the beginning of, in the end of the spring next year, when Jupiter will be culminating in daytime. It will be on the midheaven at sunrise. And he will be very strong because he will be in this position. He's very strong in daytime, and he will be also in his own sign. So Jupiter will be so strong and so beneficial that we will remove many troubles and problems. And in the past, when the Spanish flu pandemic happened, similar position ended the pandemic. This is the logic behind my statement.
What about Mars finishing? Because I remember this whole problem started when Mars started its cycle in Virgo 2 years ago. It's finishing soon, that cycle.
Yes, we can see that in many countries. The problem is being resolved to a great extent, like they're removing the limitations, but these are mostly like the wealthy countries, the countries of the West. So Mars is still finishing his cycle until December, until he rises in another sign. We are still in this time, but it's already better. The situation is better. This is
Yes,
obviously what it means.
Scandinavian countries, Denmark, they've removed all limitations. They're treating it like a flu now. UK, I think they're quite okay now. I don't know what the numbers are there, but
Yes, but we have to have in mind what the ancient text is stating, that Saturn in Capricorn, while he is in Capricorn, it means flux in many places, and that Jupiter still needs to become stronger so that things
yeah,
could be much better. So we need to go through those things, obviously. So the finishing of the cycle of Mars shows the decrease of the problems, especially in those that are stronger, which correlates to the nature of Mars. However, in others, still there is a lot to be done. Like especially those who are ruled by Capricorn, like most of the Balkans, Bulgaria lands, and also India. They are considered to be Capricornian type by the ancients, and probably other countries. In general, Africa is ruled by Saturn. So
I've noticed that all countries that you mentioned ruled by Capricorn and Saturn, and Africa, which is also Saturn ruled, is the lowest vaccination rates in those countries. In the Balkans, in India, in Africa. Maybe
yes, yes,
because
yes.
Saturn is an enemy to Mars is enemy to Saturn. Mars is vaccinations, and Saturn resists. Like, nope.
Yes, yes. Saturn is searching for security, not giving trust easily. Also, it can show difficult situations in general, but fear. Saturn is fear. So sometimes it has good reason, right? In the sense of guarding oneself of problems. So sometimes it can be with the opposite result, but definitely the limiting power of Saturn is shown here also about those things, about vaccinations, as well as for everything else. So, yeah. So,
Oh, one
however,
question. Why is Australia so fucked now? Is it because they always say Australia is ruled by by Jupiter, Sagittarius. They're the biggest travelers. They travel all over the world. Is it because Jupiter is so bad now that Australia is having it so bad?
there are several factors, of course, but first, if you remember, I made this prediction that Australia will have big problems, and in the last video or the one before that, the end of May, when we were talking about the eclipses in the end of May and beginning of June, and in those videos I said this. So it is because a line of an eclipse is going through Australia. So there is an active eclipse on the territory of Australia, and they have problems.
Okay, that's why they're so.
They were lucky before that not to have such things, but now they do.
How long does it last for the Australians?
So at least 100 days, according to the ancients. So maybe they're around the end of this influence. However, if we consider the length of an eclipse, like a minute of the length of an eclipse to be equal to a year of effect, which is the modern way to see it, then it will be 2 years.
Ooh, oh my.
But let's say the greatest impact is almost finishing. So this is the reason. It can happen to everybody from time to time to have the eclipse lines going over, as it happened also to Canada, right?
The eclipse passed through Canada as well. Yeah, you said that the strictest and the most difficult will be in those countries, Australia, Canada.
Yes, and it seems that it really is by the events. Right, okay. So, of course, this time we'll finish, someone else will have the lines. So what else are the ancient texts are stating about the change of direction of Saturn in Capricorn, especially in Capricorn. It's very interesting because the ancient text is stating havels and loss of possession. Havels and loss in possession. This is happening right now. The turning of the direction of Saturn is today and tomorrow. So the last 7 days, the next 7 days, this is a main like indication. So possibly economic problems also, which are becoming more and more evident. And the ancient text is stating also as well as much opposition in life, which is a mysterious sentence. It can be related to maybe personal meaning of the horoscope for people who are ruled by Saturn. However, we can see that also mundane level opposition. Also, when Saturn is making this change, it shows that he rules the days. So the last 7 days and the next 7 days are much influenced by Saturn. So this means that some more difficult events can happen, but also whatever happens is intending to bring more order and security and practical effectiveness for everybody. However, for many, it can be Saturnian because it can rule their bad houses. So for such people, it can represent struggle of some sort. This is seen to be so awesome in practical examples. So in general, it's, however, mostly good. Those who are born now, like today and tomorrow, they can have like more difficult year probably, more Saturnian years. But because Saturn is strong in this sign, they can have also much success in business. And some sorrow for other reasons.
And so, sorry?
Some sorrow for other reasons,
For personal reasons, but for business and work tends to be good.
Yes, exactly. So, however, the greatest, because you see Saturn can be Saturn, and Jupiter is still having 2 levels of weaknesses remaining. So the best hope, so to say, and the best event that will happen this month actually is not related so much to them, even though they have their positive sides turning direct. But what is actually the big news is the position of Mercury around 20th of October. Mercury will be so strong as I have never seen him to be so strong.
Wow.
So he will have 3 levels of strength that are very difficult to come together at the same time. So I don't know, I have to check years and years for the past and the future when this can possibly happen one day, but it can be 10, 20 years, who knows. So what is that? First, now Mercury is invisible and retrograde. So in difficult condition till that moment, 18th, 19th, 20th of October. Actually, they turn together their motion with Jupiter in the same day. In the same day, they become direct, both planets. So this is like very positive date, 18th of October. Extremely good one. But mostly because of Mercury, because he is not only becoming direct, and in this way releasing all the blockages of the people related and ruled by Mercury, you know, like intellectuals, people related to trade, to online activity.
Media.
Media, also even the common workers, because Mercury is ruling Virgo, the working class, much related to them. So, However, the second thing that's happening is that he's also becoming visible in the same time. So he's
Wow.
both turning
Right.
and becoming visible at the same time. So this makes it twice more powerful. And the most astonishing thing is that he is doing so in the exact degree of his exaltation.
Wow.
So this is the most powerful Mercury ever that I have seen. That is about to happen. He is loading now, so to say.
Wow. So
1 week.
that would be great time if you want to release websites, articles, make interviews, do finance, some kind of transaction, trades, business things, isn't it? Publications of any sort.
Exactly. Also travel. A lot of travel will happen.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely great about work and business projects because it's in this practical side.
2022 videos then. Yay.
Yes, exactly. So all the Mercury projects, you can start to write a book. You can start your website or to publish your website. You can try to find a job also. You can sign important contract.
Awesome.
Definitely, you have some great ideas for the future. Very good for planning. And for everybody, almost everybody will signify some particularly good event in their own life, depending what Mercury is ruling.
Wonderful. Thank
So
you.
for everybody is different. So it's, and this is also to say that logic, rationality, the intellectual process for everybody now is the one that can save the day. People have to now think, they have to plan, they have to write down what they need. They have to calculate everything that is important for them. Now Mercury will give them this power to be very exact, to be very practical, to see what exactly is the question, what they need, what they have to do, and so on.
Wonderful.
So in this way, it's a great practical position. Also, of course, people who are born around that time, 18th of October, 18, 19, and so on, they will surely be amongst, many of them will be amongst the greatest intellectuals for the future.
Oh, because someone was just writing on the chat that they have a baby planned with C-section for that day. So
Okay, so it will be extremely smart.
yeah.
Extremely smart. So these are some of the great news because of all those events. Because of all those events, this is definitely the most important month of the year.
Wonderful. Thank you. I like finishing on good news, unless you have some bad ones as an ending.
So the ancient texts also saying something about Mercury becoming like that, or in similar position in the sky where he will be. And what the text is saying, murmuring and opposition in cities. So Mercury will uprise, disputes, talking, information. So there will be possibly some unrest, but this is a positive unrest because Mercury is very analyzes everything very well. And when people see the truth, of course, there will be some murmuring, as they say.
Do you think they might be connected to whistleblowers?
Definitely it is. Definitely it is. It shows this success of those journalists that will now expand with this financial scandal that just came up. Pandora boxes.
Oh, the Pandora box. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mercury, this is also journalists, right?
Yeah.
People of the world. So their position is becoming stronger. and stronger, and it will be much more interesting after 1 week in regards to those things.
But these will be
Also,
true journalists, yeah? Truthful.
yes, they are. They
In
are
good
definitely.
yeah.
They are. But the real truth will be seen after around 1 week. So we have to wait. For now, it's just the beginning. When Mercury becomes visible. Till then, it can be a lot of speculation, right? Because it's still invisible. So what else the ancient text is saying? Also, it's saying thriving conditions for man. So this is about the good meaning of Mercury in Virgo, because Virgo represents, the common man. It's a sign with human shape, and also this is the sign of health and work. So then Mercury will support people in general regarding their jobs and regarding their health condition. This will be on many levels. So that's why this must be also true, thriving conditions for man. So you see the good news are coming from Mercury.
Yeah. Thriving conditions for men, okay.
Okay, so there is also other things that are going on. For instance, Venus will reach its greatest separation from the Sun. By the way, around the same time, around 18th of October. It seems that 18th of October is a very powerful day, one of a kind. And the ancient text is stating for this death of a commander or chief of the army. That's interesting. Okay, some general may have big troubles. Let's say it like that.
Yeah.
Because this is Venus in Scorpio, it's a Martian sign. That's why it's related to the army. Meaning, there are also other things. Let's contemplate a little bit about the nodes. They are in very important, very interesting situation. Like the North Node. The North Node is related to stars of healing. All right. However, I'm not sure that this is good, because naturally accepted to be a malefic factor, the North Node. This is in ancient astrology, right? The North Node with the stars of healing may show some confusion, some hiding happening in relation to medical things.
Remedies, medical things, yeah.
Yes, so there can be some obstructions to knowing the truth about all the medical situation, and also this can show also much psychological problems as medical condition that are somehow, for different reasons, becoming more. We do not have a way to see statistics of this, but it looks like that. On the other hand, if we accept that the North Node also can represent some development, then it shows that there will be some important development in relation to medicine, pharmacy. So maybe a new ways to treat COVID.
Oh yes, because Rahu is as well. It is innovative. It's trickery and deception, but it's also innovations.
Exactly. On the other hand, the opposite node, the south node, is in place where are the Pleiades. So he has the nature of Mars, and the Pleiades, they also have partly the nature of Mars. So these are two Martian things together. The Pleiades can show again some psychological issues happening to the people that are related to this place in their chart, right? And however, it can show much more like violence and cruelty happening for karmic reasons in certain places of the world.
Wow.
But it can be something much more dark, much more difficult, because the Pleiades are there. The Pleiades in the past, they are related to death itself, according to the ancient texts, one of their meanings.
Death and tears.
Yes. Even the lunar station that has those stars in India has as a symbol a weapon, an axe or a sword, which is used for not for sewing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know a baby whose sun, which rules the father and the fourth house, is on the Pleiades in the 12th house. And the father and the mother died in a car crash when the baby was 3 months old.
Okay, so this must be karmic then.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see what else I can say. So probably final words. In general, mostly the direction of the month is very positive, because things that are held back for the last months now will be released, especially the good developments for everybody in so many houses for each one of us, because Jupiter, Saturn, and Mercury together, they rule 6 signs, which means half of the chart for everybody, half of the houses for everybody, and for the world also. So this is a sign also that no matter what of some prospects of possible financial crisis, also there will be a good development for people, and including for the economics of the world. And this is starting now. It will be, the results may be seen a little later, but it's starting now. So in this way, I accept it to be definitely maybe the most positive month of the year.
Yay.
Yes.
Hopefully my smell will return.
End of the stagnation, beginning of development. This is what's happening this month. And especially through the power of Mercury in the first place.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for the good news.
Mercury, by the way, also is, in ancient times, he was considered to be the divinity that they called in the Mediterranean world, in the ancient antique culture of Rome and Greece, a divinity that was called Apollo.
Oh,
and
yes.
Apollo is much related to healing, to light, to the light overcoming darkness. There are certain legends about Apollo, how he defeats the chthonic gods like Python, this ancient snake. So this is echoed. This is exactly this: rationality, light, understanding. The good things are overcoming the dark, the obscurity, the lack of knowledge, and so on.
It was getting so dark.
So Apollo will do it for us, so to say. It is part of us, of course, part of the entire world, which will become victorious over many problems this month.
Amen.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you
so
much.
Thank you all for watching.
And if anyone wants a reading with Trifon, I'll put a link below to contact him. He's back to the States now. Hopefully you have settled and you can take readings now again.
Yes. Definitely. I'm here.
Looking forward to see all the good things you mentioned. I wish all of you to feel this unblocking and this stagnation to be over. And we'll see you very soon again, Trifon, with the November predictions.
Yes. See you.
Thank you. See you.